Hey guys, PAX Prime is this weekend in Seattle, and so I had decided to do a Marvel Comics hero inspired nail art video. I've got the Avengers logo on my thumb, and on my other fingers, I've got the Hulk on my pinky, Wolverine on my ring finger, Captain America, and that last one, which is I think the biggest fail, but it's supposed to be Iron Man. These are inspired off an image that I have on my Pinterest board. So if you want to go check that out, just search Miss Eddie Million on Pinterest and you will find me. And basically this video goes really quickly because it took a while to do all of this. So everything is sped up, I think 800 speed. So I will try and keep up with this, describing what I'm doing and the materials that I'm using and the polishes that I'm using. But if I happen to fall behind, just make sure you watch till the end of the video, and I will have in my credits at the end a complete list of all the materials that I use so that you guys can recreate this if you want. So, as usual, I'm going to start with a base coat, and I'm using the only base coat that I actually own right now, which is Bonder by Orly. Apply this to all of your nails, let it dry, and then we will start with our base color. The base color I'm using is a white for all of my nails except for my thumb. This is American Apparel's t-shirt. And on my thumb, I'm using a black, and this is American Apparel Hasid. And all right, and as you can tell, the white is not opaque, it's kind of streaky, so I do go over it with a second coat. So each character gets a dot of color as the background for their face. For the green, I'm using Limelight by Color Club, and I'm just using a detail brush to kind of refine the edges a little bit here. And this brush I actually cut up. It used to be a little fatter, and then I just cut it with some scissors. So I can't direct you as to exactly how you can get a brush exactly like this. On my next finger, I'm using a yellow, and eventually, and this is Nicole by OPI, Hit the Lights. This is part of the Selena Gomez nail polish collection. And I'm just doing a nice big fat yellow circle there, and that's good. All right, next I'm using a blue. This is for Captain America, and the color I'm using is Sally Hansen Extreme Wear Pacific Blue. And if you don't have a perfect circle, like I kind of messed up here, don't worry about it because we can go over and clean it up later with some light. And the red that I'm using for Iron Man is Silken Cord by Essie. This was actually probably a mistake. I probably should have done his background color as a gold instead of a red. But, oh well, you live and you learn. And while I'm waiting for these colored dots to dry, I'm going to do the design on the Avengers logo on my thumb. And for that, I'm using Celeb City by Sally Hansen Extreme Wear, and I'm using that detail brush that I had cut up to do the design. So I'm just going to go in, and I know it's kind of hard to see because the black is really dark and the silver is really sparkly, but I'm creating a little bit of a circle here, and then on top of it, I'm putting the A for Avengers. If you don't know what the logo looks like, well, I mean, you can wait and see what my final design looks like, but you can also just Google it. I'm not too familiar with this kind of stuff, but it was a pretty easy decision to do this logo. It's nice and simple. So just finishing up the A here, and then just doing the little horizontal line there. And to make it a little more precise, I'm going to go dip into the black polish again with my detail brush, and I'm going to separate the circle from the A that extends past it right there. And then I'm going to make a little arrow point with that horizontal line, that the horizontal member in the A. And it's kind of hard to see because everything, like I said, is so shiny, but once I put a matte top coat on it, it'll be a lot easier to see, which I'm sure you hopefully saw at the beginning of the video. All right, so now we're starting with the Hulk. I'm using a dotting tool and American Apparel t-shirt to do his little R mouth. And next I'm going to be using the black polish by American Apparel to outline him, because all of the characters are going to be outlined in black. And again, I'm using that same detail brush that I kind of just cut up, so just find a nice script brush, or not a script brush, just a nice detail brush that's got very few hairs in it, and that'll probably be pretty good for this. And I'm just going to go in at an angle with a bunch of lines and then in the other direction, and then I will fill that in, and that will be his little Hulk hair. So cute. And I'm just going to fill that in with the black. All right. And I'm going to use a spotter brush. You can use a tiny dotting tool, whatever you have around, and I'm going to do his eyes. And I'm just going to make one of them a little wonky because that's the way it is in the image and I thought it was cute. Okay, next finger is Wolverine, and I'm using American Apparel Mannequin to do the sort of flesh tone portion of his face that is not that's not covered by the mask. And I've got that little portion there. And I'm using a different brush here. I'll list all of my tools and the nail polish colors in the credits at the end of the video, so just watch till the end if you want to know exactly what size of brush and things that I'm using, assuming I haven't cut them down. Okay, now I'm going in with the black, and I'm going to do the black portion of the mask. And I'm going to do my best to try and make it symmetrical on both sides here. I think somewhere the black ends up getting into the flesh tone nail polish. I don't really know how that got there, but this is sort of me in my kind of winging it stage. I just saw this image on Pinterest and I was like, I'm doing this design on my nails. So as for a lot of you guys, if you've seen my nail tutorials, very often they're not perfect. I'm not a professional nail artist. I do this for fun. And so this is kind of just, this is what you get. I hope you still enjoyed, even though it's not perfect. I think these turned out really cute. Okay, next for Wolverine, I'm going to put in that little connectory piece, I guess, using a very, very, very light touch with my detail brush there. And what the heck is next? Okay, next I'm putting in his mouth, which again is 2 little dots at the ends of his mouth. And there are his eyes. And then just a little connecting line to do his mouth. Okay, next, Captain America. I think this one looks the most hilarious when you're seeing it in stages. Okay, first I'm putting in the flesh tone portion. And I feel like the proportion ended up being a little bit off. I think it needs to be a little wider than I actually made it. And I think it's funny that it's dripping down like this, because once I put in his eyes, which is the next step, I think he really looks like a character from Angry Birds or something. So, but if you mess up and it's not a circle and it extends out past the blue, don't worry too much about that. All right, I'm using a little detail brush to put in the A on his forehead here. And then because I've already got white on this detail brush, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of clean up the shape of the blue. And, oh, sorry, I'm putting in my mouth first. Okay, dot, line. All right, now I'm gonna clean up the edges, make him more circular, and fix his chin. And the last thing for him is the black outline, which all of the characters have, just to sort of keep a similar aesthetic. All right, and Captain America's done. And Iron Man, I think, is kind of the last one. I think it was the biggest fail. In the image, it was actually Spider-Man, but I just didn't feel like doing Spider-Man because originally I thought these were all Avengers, but I don't know what made me think that Wolverine was Thor. Anyway, big fail, I know. So, first mistake, I should not be using yellow for Iron Man. I really should be using gold. But, actually, sorry, that was the second mistake. The first mistake is that the background color should have been the gold, and then I should have painted the red on top, because it's always better to put a dark color on top of a light color, not the other way around. So, because I did that, and my yellow is still patchy, I have to wait for it to dry before I can apply a second coat of the yellow. While I'm waiting for the yellow to dry, I'm going to go ahead and draw my little black outline. So if you do this, either use gold as the background and then fill in the red, or just do Spider-Man. If you check out the image on my Pinterest board, Spider-Man would have been so much better and so much easier. But I had to do Iron Man because Iron Man's cool. Spider-Man is less cool. Alright, so I'm going in with my second coat of the yellow there, and now I'm just going in with the red again just to kind of touch up and make the edges of that yellow a little more crisp. Alrighty. Just going to touch up the top part here as well. Alright, good enough. I think. Maybe. Okay. And I think another reason why Iron Man doesn't look as good as the others is because I think his mouth should have been white, but I made both his eyes and his mouth black, which, yeah, I think was a mistake. But anyway, that's the little arc, his brow over his eyes. And there we go, his eyes, and there's his mouth. Just gonna draw the little connector line. It looks a little weird. And then extend this guy out a little. I mean, it looks odd because it just kind of looks like he's wearing sunglasses. And because they're comic book characters, yes, they're kind of shiny when they're wearing, like, especially Iron Man, but I wanted it to look very matte. So I'm using Matte About You by Essie, which is my ultimate favorite matte top coat. And I'm going to give Iron Man some time to dry before I apply my top coat. So that's why I didn't do him. But I do put top coat on him later. And I kind of smeared Hulk, so ooh, there's a little more white. And here is the final design of all the characters. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Also, don't forget, you can follow me on Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. I'll see you next time. Bye.